I'm recording and oh, numbers. We're on number
Oh.
62.
In at number 62, Daddy's got a movie for you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't like that? You don't like that intro?
Not with like the daddy in this movie is,
Daddy.
literal P. Diddy co-defendant.
Mm. It's Daddy Day Camp, not Care. If you think it's Care, you're wrong. This is the 2007 sequel, Daddy Day Camp, which we are the first people, I believe, to have ever watched, if I'm
Every time you
correct.
say it, it sounds like you're saying some sort of French word. Daddy de camp.
Daddy Day Camp.
I think in French that means the daddy from the land of Comp,
Camp?
from the struggle. Okay.
Oh.
Well, now that we've got the Nazi jokes out of the way, um,
I didn't know that's what you're doing.
hi,
Okay.
hi,
Hi,
it's
it's
Mark.
a film. There's Mark. This is Matt here. There is.
Luke is
It's
upon
film.
you.
Yes, it's films and filth. We're miring in the filth list today. So this is one where I'm literally like, are we the first people to ever watch this movie? I just don't see anyone like intentionally watching this movie. How well they thought they were getting Care, but they also wanted to watch Daddy Day Care in that case. So I feel like it's
Yeah,
a
that's already like a stretch to assume that person exists.
I mean, we might be the last people to watch it.
That's true. And I had a hell of a time finding it too. I ended up streaming it off of some bizarre website that looked dodgy.
Oh yes, that's how I've watched 90% of the films for this podcast,
Okay,
to
well, I
be
usually
honest.
don't
Like,
end up having to do that, but I had to do it for this one. And yeah. But has anyone seen the first one? I didn't bother to watch the first one or anything because I didn't think I'd like it.
it may have been on a television and I was present in the room that television was playing the film in. I don't think I watched it.
So it wasn't
Nope.
like a lock-in sort of thing. You didn't
No,
lock
I
into that
remember
one.
this film existing, but then it's like it gets mixed in with like all the other various what if a dad had to do parenting duties comedies? Like
Yeah.
there's
What
a
if a
lot of
dad
those.
what if a dad had to run a business?
Or he didn't run a business. Isn't that what
He was
Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton posits?
he was I mean, I'm just gonna say the dad in this movie sucks at business. Maybe he sucked at business in the first one when he was played by the far more capable, but often I feel like Eddie Murphy is gonna just he's not on any of our bad list movies. Is he just gonna skirt the bad list? Is he just sort of like tiptoeing outside of it because nobody can bear to like put him to rate his movies that low?
Oh yeah, as well be
That's
like, hey, didn't his Haunted Mansion movie get on the list? But no, it's not. It's not. Um,
no.
Like
I think he just avoided it.
even a bad Eddie Murphy movie, you still get to enjoy Eddie Murphy. So
well, about this time, 2007, that might be a little questionable if you're going to enjoy Eddie Murphy. What was he actually
I
making around this time? Let's see.
I think the worst movie I've actually seen him in was probably Nutty Professor, and that I did not like that movie, but I still liked watching Eddie Murphy.
I
mm.
liked it when
It's
it
like
came out. I don't know if I'd like it now. Let's see. Okay, this is the year that he made Brian Wilson's favorite movie, Norbit. And Shrek, he was in
yeah.
Shrek the Third, which I believe is the worst Shrek. No,
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, I've seen okay. I mean, I don't think any Shrek movies are on the any lists, but
no. Now
They should be on the good list.
a year before he did Dreamgirls, actually took quite a break. He did Daddy Daycare, The Haunted Mansion, Shrek 2, which is voice, and then Dreamgirls was 2006. So he kind of tapped out for a few years. So maybe he was like not available for Daddy Day Camp, which was originally going to be straight to video and apparently screened so well that they wanted to put it in theaters, which no, it what?
yeah, that's the I'm gonna say this is the first movie that we've watched that I feel absolutely confident actually is one of the 100 worst movies of all time.
Yeah, I can be down with that.
Okay,
Hey,
I think I
yes.
got to tell you guys,
Oh.
I like this film.
Yes. Yes. Hell yeah.
Like there were a couple of running gags which I thought were kind of funny. It's over in like 89 minutes. It was fine. I'm not going to put it in the top 100, but this
No.
I wouldn't put this in the bottom 100 films of full time.
Okay, I was
Awesome.
sitting there
Okay.
comparing it to how I thought of Bucky Larson, so I'm on the more like, I had to watch just the font at the beginning. It has the credits are in that insane font that makes me angry.
I thought for sure you'd be angry about the score, which I need to find a word a term for this where the score is like
That's pretty much
like
Mickey Mousing. I guess that's wacky
um
Mickey Mousing.
guess what?
What?
This guy, the guy who composed the music for
Jim
this,
Dooley.
made the music for Epic Mickey and Epic Mickey 2, which
I
IMDb
haven't
has
played.
them listed as both coming out the same year, which I can't be right.
Oh, he's mostly a video game guy, is he? He did the Da
Yeah, it's
Vinci Code,
SOCOMs.
composed, arranged Da Vinci Code, really? That seems like, was he the main guy on that? That seems
I
like
don't.
a big credit.
I mean, I think the score sucks, but I don't
Additional
know if
music.
it's.
Okay.
I don't think the score sucks. It's just completely wrong. Like I don't know what the score should be for this. It's just like it feels like he's trying to make up for the for something. And I don't know. But this is such a common thing. The overly whimsical, whimsy, heavily whimsical,
Heavily whimsical.
aggressively
Aggressively
whimsical.
whimsical. Okay.
Yes, that's the thing.
I mean, I guess you
So
could kind of say like the Star Trek 4 soundtrack's doing that, but that one's pretty good. I mean, unless you just realize it's basically Bach's Brandenburg Concerto, but whatever.
you know what? You know what? There
Was
was a
that? I don't
chunk
know
of my
anything.
life I did not like Star Trek 4. It's the thing where I liked it a lot when I was a kid, and then when I got a little older, I was like, stupid. They just saved a bunch of money by sending him back in time. And then eventually I watched it again and was like, oh no, actually it is good.
I think I overwatched it, but yeah, I don't. And there are certainly days when I want to see them on their spaceship, but Daddy Day Camp, no spaceship in this one to speak of. I
No,
don't
but
No,
think.
there is a classic Star Trek nerd character.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the kid with the PSP who should just, or yeah, that was, I would say the kid with the
I got
PSP. I
notes
was
about the
like,
PSP kid.
okay, I was gonna say
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I'm not saying I've got comments about this film. I just don't think it was overall the worst time I've had watching a film.
For a few of your comments, can you summarize this film?
I literally just put a mouthful of cereal in.
Well, you just throw it for like this. We can talk
Yep.
about mullets for a bit if you want. Well, the kid's called Mullet, isn't he?
Nope,
That's the
shut your
movie.
mouth. I'm doing the intro.
Mm.
Daddy Charlie went to a summer camp as a kid and had a rough time in the Intercamp Olympiad because his daddy judged him for failing. Many years later, Daddy Charlie's son Ben is going to day camp, and Daddy Charlie and his pal Daddy Phil end up buying the place. Daddy Keith challenges them to a new Olympiad, and Daddy Charlie is forced to call on his daddy, Granddaddy Buck, to whip the kids into shape. The daddies battle vicariously through their children, and Daddy Charlie and his daddy and their pal Daddy Phil win.
How many did you count how many times she said daddy in that?
Nope, maths is for
Okay.
nerds.
I definitely have lost it's lost all meaning, so I don't really care how many times it was anymore. So anyway, the guy who plays the dad in this was the coroner in Jason Goes to Hell, who ate Jason Voorhees' heart and then became Jason.
Ooh.
So
Wait, which daddy is this?
the granddaddy.
Oh, the granddaddy.
Mm.
Okay, that's cool. I mean,
I've
I guess
definitely
he
seen him in
popped.
something.
Yeah, he popped a little more
Yeah.
than most people in this movie. Um, what is everyone's like? Well, it's not a summer camp; it's a day camp. But what is your experience with this sort of thing? Um,
None. My
Minimal.
none.
parents my parents were broke and I probably would not I no, there's no probably about it. I did not want to go to camp when I was a kid. I was specifically like I do not like bugs. I didn't really mind playing outside. It was just the whole idea that I couldn't go inside whenever I wanted to piss me off.
Okay, I guess I'll be the camp expert. I went to the day camp for the Cub Scouts, which was just like at like I think like Perimeter University or college, whatever they call it these days. So it wasn't like out. I mean, it wasn't that outdoors, right? And then I did Boy Scout camp where you would go out for a week to the Boy Scout reservations in the mountains of Georgia or the flat, boring, hot part of Georgia. They had two of them. So I went to that. I went to my it wasn't that religious, but the church owned summer camp. I went there a couple years, once with my friends from like the sixth grade or something. And then I did environmental education. So I was never like a counselor, but I worked in this kind of situation several times, but not day camp. That seems to be a breaking thing with this movie. It's like, it's a day camp. It's like that one that doesn't make sense. Um, that
Apparently, that's a thing that exists because I was confused. I was like, did they just put the word camp in the term daddy daycare and they just decided to call it a day camp because it was like a summer camp? But no, apparently, a day camp is a thing that exists. It's just you take your kids home at the end of the day.
Right. That's what I was saying when I was like 6 or 7, they take me to like the local college and it was like in town where this seems to be like off in the in the wilderness or something. And then they come home every day. That seems like impractical.
I'm going to say this would have been a better film if they hadn't, but they had to make it a day camp because that was the title. So,
Right. That's my point. That doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
But also, they
no.
changed their mind and camp overnight halfway through the film anyway.
And that's like a big deal when they do it. It's like, oh my God, we're actually going to camp. It's like, what? I don't know. So just the premise of the movie didn't compute with me, partly because of, I guess, experience. Because you have to, just the fact that you have to get out of town, you have to go to this place, and then you come back every day. That's wildly, they're spending all their money on gas, probably.
Well, they literally had a bus.
I mean,
Right.
well,
And
they have to make their carbon footprint bigger after like doing all the wood stuff. They have to like drive their car enough to like offset all the
Yeah, they
nature
don't want to
stuff they're
be
doing.
woke.
have
Yeah,
I told my
exactly.
bus driving story from the summer camp, not day camp?
I got some bush
May-
stories, but not bush driving.
yeah.
Bus.
I
Yeah.
can't tell you Bush stories on here.
No, anyway, the lady who drove the bus just suddenly up and quit, right? And
Mm.
we had
Uh-huh.
the kids had to go to the roller disco or whatever it was. So I still had a bus driver's license, and it was a manual shift bus from like the mid 70s or whatever, and I'm driving the Poconos. So I have a bus full of kids, and to get up the next hill, I have to like barrel down the one before it, or it will not get up the next hill. So it felt mildly dangerous driving this archaic bus filled with kids. We made it to the roller disco though, and disco's rollered.
You basically had to play Tiny Wings to get the bus to work.
Yeah, yes, that sort of thing.
I'm the kind of person where I have done the thing where you well not roller skates because I never learned how to roller skate, but I've definitely done something where we had a U-Haul truck and it was like drive around with us in the back of the U-Haul truck sliding around on stuff.
Did you
That
help
sounds fun.
someone move? Is that when it happened?
Yeah.
Did
I
you help
mean,
me move?
we're
Were you
not
in the
gonna
back of
just
my
get
U-Haul truck?
we're
Oh,
not just gonna
I thought
rent.
it was just we're gonna get a truck and it'll be fun to sit in the back and drive around.
I mean, if I had fuck you money, then yes, I would do that even now. But like, nah, this is more just like we got the truck for another couple hours.
I mean, we used to just go out and hang out at the airport, right? Which sounds insane
Yeah,
now. Can't do that no more.
it doesn't sound. It sounds wonderful. I wish I could do it. I mean, sometimes I still go to the airport. It's just not fun because you can't go through anything. You just have to sit at the
Look,
TGI Fridays, sucking down like Long Island iced teas, just staring at people.
hmm. You used to be able to go to concourses, even though you weren't flying anywhere. Dream
You
of
can
the
go to
90s.
Concourse F.
Yes, you can. Um,
Concourse F has its own entrance, but
yeah.
then the view from that is just planes lining up in a line. So it's
Hmm.
like sucks.
I would
Yeah.
think 10-year-olds going to this camp too would feel stupid coming back every day. That's going to be, I always got those weird sticking points with some of these movies, and that's my weird sticking point on this one, I guess.
Well, they're obviously way smarter than every other 10-year-old and they like have adult dialogue because that's what this movie is. Except for
Right.
when they just like fart or shit or puke.
They were
I
smart
guess
enough.
adults do it too.
Oh yeah, that one kid, he pukes in the tent. How rude is that? I mean, if you're feeling sick and you're in the woods and you go directly to the tent and just hurl it there, that's obnoxious.
That wasn't as obnoxious as the film suddenly cutting to everyone having a reaction and going dun, 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 dun. Whoa, no, ah, blah.
Right.
That's the problem I had.
He
This
just could
is
have taken
my
5 steps away from everyone and just hurled onto the, like foliage.
this is all this movie. The frustrating thing is this movie could have been an absolute classic. All they had to do was when those kids didn't come back at the beginning, they're dead. When the military grandfather shows up, he actually brings ammunition. They like start actual war. They kill a bunch of kids. There's just a few kids left, and then even after that happens, the parents of the other camp are like, "Oh, you won the camp war. We'd love for our kids to go to your camp because less of your campers died." That's instant classic.
That isn't a battle royale.
Yes, one of my favorite movies of all time.
So you can just watch it. No, I think you have to fix a
I
few
watch it
more
now.
things than that for
Yeah.
this
Well,
movie
yeah,
to
you
work.
you
But
you take out some of the farts, or maybe like every time someone farts, they die or something, or maybe it's like they fart because they're poisoned.
I still want to take some sumo and fart soundboard it. I need to do that. I keep saying I'm going
You've
to do
been
that, and I
telling me
haven't
that for
yet.
like 7 years.
Please do
So,
it.
so my notes, they start off like, okay, this is a shit film and I want to have things to say. So, like, okay, first, two of the kids are introduced with basically the same joke. Like, the mum is overprotective and telling them to take medicine. And, like, one of them, the joke is the kid is like, oh, mum, you're so paranoid. And the other one is into it. But, like, one more pass from a writer and they would have combined those two gags. Why did they do it twice? That's just bad.
Because it was going straight for VHS, I guess, or DVD. It's
I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's
2007.
just like, just no competent writer would leave that in if they had a second look at the script.
That's the
Then,
Savage charm. It's just like the
it's
Lubitsch touch.
it's kind of like there were too many kids, but I don't know how
absolutely.
you make a camp movie with
Well, you
like
just have a
four
few
kids.
who are characters and then the others are just extras, right?
I
Yeah, and then they
mean,
get blown up.
you got
Exactly.
Meatballs. You got what? Wet Hot American Summer. They've done this somewhat correct several
I
times.
mean,
Friday the
Wet Hot
13th is the
American,
one you're talking about, by the way.
Friday the 13th, yes.
They
Another
have to
one of
stay
my favorite
overnight in that.
movies. In fact,
The first
probably a
one is
solid
the first
a
one.
solid eight. It's great.
And
It's
the
great.
first one's great. I just feel like people don't usually cite the first one as just being their favorite.
It's
They want to go for
no,
a
my
weird
my
sequel.
favorite one is probably six because it's like the one that was complete comedy. Like it was 100% just a joke.
Is that Goes to
Um,
Hell?
no, that's Jason Lives. Is one where he comes back as a zombie, basically. Like it's the first time they give him just like teleporting and stuff. They don't even try to explain what he's doing.
Mm.
And it was filmed here. It was filmed close to here, but it's filmed at a camp where I've been.
Mm.
I
But I
wasn't
did
camping, but I was just at my friend's wedding.
but I did just buy the first one for 69 cents from the second Blu-ray Apocalypse, which has now occurred.
Nice. It's a good movie. I mean, the thing is, it's one of those things where it's like a Tarantino thing where they steal from Psycho and from Carrie and from Halloween and there's
I
probably
guess it's
something else
just in
I'm forgetting.
1980 stealing from Carrie
Yeah,
and
they stole
Halloween is a little
but
recent, just kind of makes you seem like you're ripping something off.
they
So,
were. They announced the film in a trade magazine before there was a script at all. They just had the title. They got the rights to the title Friday the 13th. They were like coming soon Friday the 13th in Variety or whatever it was. And then they wrote the script and it was, the music was straight up a Psycho like rip like a, Bernard Herrmann Psycho rip off. But it's great. They
but
did
it's
a great
probably,
job with
I mean,
it.
it's probably how this movie came across here. Like Daddy Day Camp 2? Nah, two's not cool anymore. Camp, now it's a camp. Write the script.
Well, yeah, I mean, well they're just like
Just use
I
the
don't know if
basic
the
cliches. Just use the main cliches to build your script. It'll be fine.
The other problem with having this many child characters is you have to find that many child actors who are good, which they clearly didn't.
I think in
There are
the
a couple who are okay, but not the whole
uh,
bunch.
Yeah, I will say it wasn't I mean, there is the cutesy crap that like, why am I watching this? But it could be a lot worse. It's not like 90s kid energy, which is like the real worst, you know?
yeah, I mean, I'd rather whatever unusually smart kids than unusually enthusiastic kids, I guess. That they were I don't blame the kids for this shit really. It was just I blame Fred Savage.
No, I was thinking
Well,
about
you'd
like what
think
the
he would know how to work
that
with
was
child
like.
actors.
I don't know.
We're not sure. Is this where Mark opens his can of worms?
Oh, I
No,
don't
no,
know
yeah,
if
I
he
got
knows
I
how
got
to
some more notes to go through.
Okay.
I mean, he's
So
not
next
he's
note, I've got gamer kid playing a PSP, but it's making Atari sounds. I mean, standard movie video games, but still.
Yeah, he says something like I just have to kill one more. That's not
Well,
PSP
yeah,
at
yeah, yeah,
all.
because then they make the mistake. He literally says he's playing World of Warcraft on there,
I missed that detail
which
for
is an
some reason.
online fucking MMORPG.
No.
You could not play it on a PSP at camp.
It's
Like,
Yeah, I
only a
don't
day
think
camp.
I
don't
don't
bother
think
to name a real game if you're going to be that inaccurate.
and there was something in the there's almost nothing in the trivia for this, but there was something that was like actually he says that he's a level something or other character, but actually that can't be because those characters in World of Warcraft can't do that. And I can't find this for some reason, but it was very well actually nerd bullshit.
Excellent.
Yeah. I've never played World of
Nice.
Warcraft because I have a life and I want to continue having a life. Oh
Also, it
yeah.
looks boring as hell. But
Yeah.
then that
Okay.
same character, they do he sees the girl and she shakes her hair in slow motion and she's beautiful thing. But like they're fucking 10 years old. We don't need
Yeah.
this in the
I
film.
hated that. Okay, here it is. A boy tells a girl he is a level 40 blood elf druid in World of Warcraft. Only Taurens and night elves can be druids. 5 out of 7 found this helpful.
I
Okay,
bet.
that you just said words that sounded
I mean,
fantastical.
I don't know, blood elf druid sounds cool. I guess
I
if
don't
you're
have a
gonna
problem with
lie,
that.
then make it sound cool.
Hmm. Maybe they're just not as good at the game as this kid. Then I put
Yeah.
the mullet guy as a funny gag.
What movie has the best ensemble child acting? I mean, not just like, The Sixth Sense where it's like one kid, but where you have like an ensemble.
Hmm.
Possibly what Pan's Labyrinth was that only one kid?
I think that was
Um,
one kid. I'm thinking
Maybe like the Goonies or something.
Goonies would be it's possible the first Spy Kids, but I haven't really watched
been a
it.
while since I seen that. So
Um,
I can watch it. I got it from the first Blu-ray Apocalypse.
yeah, remember when there was the Four Rooms bit where Robert Rodriguez was kind of auditioning the Spy Kids thing, and then there were the two kids in that. I don't know if they're the same two kids, and they
Mm.
were really good. Like, I think Robert Rodriguez really knows how to work with kids,
Hmm.
um,
And stick them on a green screen.
and have them write his movies for him.
I
um,
guess the Spielberg thing, because you got the Goonies, you got E.T. More of his movies have kid ensembles. Even the first part, Close Encounters, I guess the family has like reasonable child acting. So maybe
Is
it's just
Enter the
like,
Void where you keep seeing those two kids cry when their parents are dead?
that was a fun set.
Yay.
So yeah, because I mean well, it's not easy, but it's like it is difficult to have like they have like 10 kid actors like with lines and stuff in here. So
Hmm.
filling that in and not
Yeah.
having it suck is a bit of a chore. You have to
Yeah.
appreciate when people can pull it
Uh,
off.
I'm just sitting here trying to think of children movies with a bunch of children in them, and I'm coming up kind of blank, which
Yeah, because it's difficult. That's why, isn't it? You got Our Gang and the Little Rascals from the past, but they weren't good actors. They were just being cute, right? I mean, a few of them were
I don't
probably
know.
fine,
Maybe
but
they were good. I'm not
yeah,
gonna
well,
go back
I
and
think
watch that stuff.
did Harry Dean Stanton start doing that? It was something whack like that. Yeah. So I think he was an Our Gang as a little one.
No, you know what? Battle Royale.
You're just gonna keep going back to Battle Royale. They're a little
I mean,
older though.
it's
They're
a
like teenagers,
superlative
right?
film. Everything about Battle Royale is great.
We're talking pre-puberty here. That's the
Okay.
ensemble I'm thinking about. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, hard thing to do, when you think about it, like having a set as a director, you have to run it as like,
Oh, Stand
filmatic
by Me.
daycare.
Stand by Me will be on this podcast, right? Probably.
I don't think so, but I did
I
just
think
get
it
that for
is.
69 cents from the second Blu-ray Apocalypse as well.
Okay, good. As long as you got it in the Blu-ray Apocalypse, that's all that matters.
Okay.
All right, I'll keep going because then I write. So if I write the mullet guy is funny because he does the whole putty
Mullets are
in
funny.
back business. Yeah. And he's like, putty in the back, baby. But then my next note is, wait, mullet is not into girls? Because
He's
after
into his
doing the whole
mullet.
like check out my mullet, baby, the next thing he says is like, oh, we're gonna get cooties. Like, is he into women or not?
Yeah, he doesn't want him to touch his hair.
Then of course I've got my notes about the camp counselor Star Trek nerd, where he does like
Mm.
the laziest possible nerd dialogue, where he's teaching them to tie their laces or tie the knot, and he's like, and then the Enterprise goes around the nebula, and I'm like, I'm a fucking Star Trek nerd. I know a lot of Star Trek nerds. We don't just replace normal conversation with Star Trek and expect people to follow it.
Yeah, sometimes we do.
But then everything changes because my favorite character in this film shows up. You got the asshole rival camp leader
Hmm.
who has his little hype man kid sidekick who is fucking hilarious.
That kid actually was a standout for me. He was,
Yeah.
and then at the end, he's like, "That's for telling him that you're not my
Yeah,
dad."
that
So
was a
it's like he
great
was.
gag.
Yeah. Okay. That
Like, this
was
isn't
that
my
was
kid, and then at the end kicks him in the dick. Is like, that's for telling people I'm not your kid. That's brilliant.
So Stand By Me is 8.1. It's not on the list. Nothing Rob Reiner directed is on the list at all. It's kind
Okay.
of weird. That's
Sorry,
kind of
Rob Reiner.
surprising.
Yeah, there.
Don't you think it's kind of surprising? He did like Princess Bride, which I sort of thought was going to come up. That's 8.
Hmm.
Weird. Anyway,
I
I don't
guess
know.
he's a little
I
genre-y is the thing, and being a genre is keeps you down a little bit.
I don't know. I always thought of him as a guy who everybody liked most everything he did. So it's
But
kind of
maybe
weird.
that's it likes, so they don't necessarily. I mean, something. Of course, people love
Yeah.
that stuff. I mean, what's my corner? That's Spinal Tap, right? So we all have something.
Yeah, for sure.
But Spinal
Yeah.
Tap, I mean, it's never, it's not going to be on the top 100 list. I mean, it might be on my top
I
100
mean,
list, but I don't see it getting a populist choice. It's a little too weird for that.
there's no there are no none of that kind of parody is on the good list.
I guess that's why it is fascinating. Luke, I know you still have a few notes, maybe, but
Oh no,
yeah,
that's pretty much my last one.
okay, it is a good time to ask why is it on the bad list. And I don't think it's because of all the dark research Mark was doing, because I don't think that's like necessarily
Dark
dark.
research.
I don't think that's
No,
necessarily the
I
they're like super known for that, right? So it's just
my
like this.
I think it's exactly the same thing as with like Three Ninjas, where the first Daddy Daycare is at 5.6. This cannot be rated as highly as that, so it's lower. you know,
What
and
is
it's that
Granddaddy
is that much
Daycare
lower.
listed as?
What?
There's
There's like
Granddaddy
a
Daycare after this.
2014 sequel.
No way.
The Daddy Daycare Legacy sequel everyone was waiting
Yeah,
for.
there's a wiki page for the Daddy Daycare franchise.
I saw that they just wow. I saw they just announced Cheech and Chong's last movie, and I'm like, not ready for that. Anyway,
They did the
speaking of,
animated one, but yeah. Um,
um,
what,
okay, yeah, that's 5.0, so it's clearly they
wow.
turned it around. But it looks like Danny Trejo is the main star of it, so I
Oh,
think
hello.
Danny Trejo automatically gets you.
2019, by the way. Did you say 2014?
I did
2019.
not.
Okay, I did.
Oh, okay. Barry Bostwick, that's kind of fun, I guess.
Huh.
Another of the granddaddies, I suppose. Yeah, I was.
This is the first film in the Daddy Daycare series to be released by Universal, unlike the first two films, which were released by Columbia TriStar. Like
Nobody just that's the trivia. No, no, nobody.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Unlike the first two Daddy Daycare films, which were rated PG, this third film is the first and only film in the series to be rated PG-13. I love it. It's
Ooh
just
la la.
written by someone who wants to make this like as legitimate a franchise as they possibly can.
Um, yeah, I was thinking like, how could you fix this film? I was like, could you put John Turturro in it as like the other dad, or as
Yeah.
Put
Vance or something? That would have upped the game. That's
put
why I
any
enjoyed You Don't Mess
comedy
with the
actors in
Zohan.
it.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
issue with this film is it's like Cuba Gooding Jr., forgetting about him being an awful human being in real life. When he was at the height of his powers, it's because he was like a serious actor, right?
Yeah, I
Even from
think
in
he's a
film.
guy that just started making super
And
bad choices. I mean, personally and professionally, you know?
and his sidekick played by Paul Ray. What was the guy's name? What was his dumb
Phil, I
his
think.
friend, the
Daddy
farting
Phil, I
man,
called
the
him.
farting guy, oh, the daddy Phil. Yeah, he was in like W and True Grit and Dark Meridian.
he
I'm
he
just looking at
literally
the
looks like Timu, um, John Goodman.
yeah, kind of.
And he's also a replacement, which is funny because Jeff Garland plays that role in the first one, who he does the voice of Buttercup in the Toy Stories, and there was another big hit that he had. Not hit, but
He
just
was in was he on Everybody Loves Raymond or something? One of
I don't
those King
oh,
of Queens,
the
one of
Captain
those
and
things.
Wally. I knew there was something that we had just had him in. This year, so he couldn't do Daddy Day Camp, which was probably a smart choice. So instead he was doing an episode of Shorty McShort's Shorts, which got a 3.9, and something called American Loser. So that's what he chose
Hmm.
over Daddy Day Camp in 2007, it seems. Which, I mean, you can't
Yeah.
besmirch that choice, but yeah.
Well, and the guy who's the evil camp guy, Daddy, what's his name? Uh, not Daddy,
Vance
the
was
Daddy.
a. Or am I
He's
just thinking
I
actually
of?
been
put
in a bunch
Keith
of
in my
That's a
comedies.
good
notes, but I
villain
don't
name
think
now.
that's
Keith.
real.
Lachlan Monroe. Anyway, he's the one who's been in a bunch of comedies, but his character was sort of like not supposed to be all that funny,
Hmm.
because he was more just like a bully and you're not supposed to like him at all. But he was in like Peacemaker and a bunch of he was in Scary Movie, the good one, a night at the Roxbury, White Chicks.
No, I recognized him. He is a that
Yeah,
guy. I
he's
mean,
a that guy.
they got a Murray in this one. Maybe the wrong Murray in this case, but well, Brian Doyle Murray. Always fun to see him
Oh
in a
yeah,
film.
he ran away from that set as quickly as humanly possible. Like they had him for like I've you got me for 1 hour.
That sounds about right
Yeah.
because he does literally just kind of run it out of the movie, which
Yeah.
but anyway, the
Which
sighting was fun.
sucks because wow, he's a great actor. I love him.
That was my thing. I was depressed he was there, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he'd stayed, it might have been better. I don't know.
This
I
has the
don't know.
same climax as the first Revenge of the Nerds, uh, another movie where they stay at their place overnight for many nights.
Well, without the sexual assault in that.
Well, my note is this is the same climax as Revenge of the Nerds, except for the cringy part.
Yeah.
So maybe that makes an
God.
improvement. I mean, well, it would have been worse if you had kids doing that stuff.
I don't even want to think about that at all. I'm going to try to forget you said that.
But it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing with the music and the weird competition. I mean, there's lots of movies that
Yeah.
do that, but yeah.
Yeah, a million. Yeah, there's like five Charlie Brown movies that do that, I think.
Yeah, if this
Uh,
hadn't come out when it did, if it came out today, I would assume the script was written by AI. It's just like
Yeah.
a movie script.
well, maybe this was an experiment by the military industrial complex because they have the ahead technology, so they could be trying out today's AI in 2007's Daddy Day Camp. For all you know, that would be fun.
I think at
Well,
this point we can all admit the military do not have cool future tech. They have a bunch of bumbling idiots doing dumb shit.
I just like
no, they
I
have
just
a
want to
lot.
build a conspiracy theory that day camp is a test of a military test of AI.
Hmm.
They have an insane amount of money and they throw it at whatever they can to get whatever results they can. That's like literally how we got the atomic bomb.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Zoom forces you to look at their AI suggestions. It says, "What should we do? We should have a cooking or baking competition on Zoom." That's why is that the featured thing to tell me to do while I'm on my Zoom meeting? Where team members can showcase their culinary skills and compete against each other.
I mean,
Okay.
how can you compete over Zoom? Taste nobody can taste the
This
thing unless
brownie is
you're all in the same
fucking good,
place.
man. You will not tell me that your brownie is better than my brownie.
Like the only way you could do that is to clone one person and have send a clone to each location, but you have to do it really fast because like the if you let the clones live long enough, their tastes are going to change.
Or you get like a courier service to just, but you do it with people in town, and the guy bicycles from house to house, like delivering brownies. So,
Yeah, or it's something like you use incredibly like objective methods of testing the food, like what do you call those things? The pH strips, like the acid content. Like put a thermometer in it; it has to be at exact temperature. Like
mm.
you only judge it based on things that you can like use like methods to
Finally,
literally measure
objective
it.
journalism in food.
Okay.
Okay, my brownies weigh 3.5 pounds, but your brownies weigh 3.8 pounds, so I guess I lost.
Okay. Anyway, just goes to
My
prove that.
methamphetamine is chemically pure.
Yeah, like just give PCP to a bunch of people on your Zoom call, like who can punch through the most blocks, like that wins.
Oh, God.
Wherever you synthesized.
That is a team building activity, isn't it? Which is what
Hell
this
yeah.
forced
This movie
suggestion
should have
is
been.
get taking PCP and punching through concrete blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, you synthesize PCP and give it to a bunch of kids at the day camp.
Mm. Isn't that kind of the story of Ricky?
Yes, another movie that is one of my favorite movies.
Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. I should just ask Luke, when are you running off from this call?
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Just
My
checking.
dentist is Friday this week.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Okay.
I mean,
So
maybe I should just leave because I'm fucking
you
kind
could
of
finish
done
your
talking
notes.
about this film. Even with my notes, there's not that much to say.
One of my last notes is just, did he fill the balloon with piss? And then yes,
Did
they
he?
instantly told me yes. Well, they said pee in the movie, but yeah.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
funny that they threw a piss balloon to children.
yeah, that was. I thought he was gonna shit into the balloon because he was like, "I've been holding it." I mean,
No, because
there's
yeah,
been just
he.
shit.
That would have made it a PG-13 movie 10 years too early, 12 years too early.
Hmm.
Well, no, that was an example of good writing because they'd already established that he can't. He was a bedwetter and he managed to hold it in all night.
Oh yeah,
Right?
you got a good point there. I just was
Mm.
like
Let's give the
constantly thinking
kudos where
about
it
shit.
belongs.
Not Schrodinger, the
uh,
other guy. Chekhov.
Chekhov's
Chekhov's
piss.
piss, yeah.
Yes, indeed. I
Um,
Schrodinger's piss is when you sit down on the toilet and you don't know if you've done it until you stand up and look in the bowl.
well, if you spend a lot of time
uh,
playing a game on there, that could happen. You really don't remember what you've been up to while you've been playing Tetris.
I mean, that happens with shit. I don't know about you guys.
What, Tetris?
More, yeah, I
No,
guess it happens more
Schrodinger's
with
shit.
shit than piss.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If
you don't
you're,
know if you shit or not.
yeah.
It's like they say you don't know what you've shit till it's gone.
Yeah,
So
something
this,
like observing observable shit. I don't. I need to memorize more phrases about relativity.
so this is the only Fred Savage joint, as we mentioned, his only directed feature credit. I guess at this point in time he had slightly goodwill just for being the mole in Austin Powers, maybe.
Oh, I forgot he was that.
That's actually
No.
6 years before this, wasn't it? I was just like, I remember, oh, there he is, and everyone was happy to see him in that movie. And that's the only time I remember seeing him after the Wonder Years and Little Monsters.
I yeah, I
If you
don't.
could have a popular film and television actor grow out of your face, who would you choose?
Rowan
What,
Atkinson.
It's a good one.
like they're like a little Rowan Atkinson on my face?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Uh, Danny Trigila, as we mentioned before, would be a good one to pop out of your face.
I was literally just looking at the Mr. Bean movie because the guy who's Jason Voorhees was in it.
I already mentioned Harry Dean Stanton.
Very funny.
It'd be cool to have a very old Harry Dean Stanton popping out of your face.
Sure. In
I
my
think
Uh,
I'd take
head, he was
Patrick
always old.
Stewart. He'd give me good advice.
Hell yeah.
oh, they're talking too. I thought it was just like a kind of like
Just visual. No, no,
Patrick.
no. It's them.
Oh,
Their
it's them
soul is
talking.
in this mole on your
Well,
face.
Danny would still be a good choice, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm curious who directed Daddy Take Care and what was
Some
he doing?
dude probably.
Oh, it's the guy who directed Paul Blart Mall Cop
Ah,
and
That
movie
sounds like
43, which
it.
I believe is supposed to
Everyone
be one of the
hates.
worst
is it on
movies
a?
ever, even though it's not on the list. It's 44, 4.4.
Hmm.
Um,
A
Yeah,
few
because
people
that's one
dig
that I
it.
definitely heard people talk about as a worst of all time kind of movie.
yeah, it's weird. The cast is insane.
That's the one where Hugh Jackman has a ball chin, is it?
That's basically that video of Gal Gadot singing Imagine as a movie, is my understanding of
It's
it.
like Crash, basically. I
It's
mean, the
like it
bad
has a bunch
Crash.
of famous people in it, but they forgot that they still need a script and a director and jokes.
Well, I'm trying to see if
well,
he
they
has
had a director,
anything.
damn it, and he made Daddy Day care.
Yeah. He also directed Are We Done Yet?
Are
And
we?
Dr. Doolittle 2 and Next Friday.
Hmm. So he's a sequel guy,
Yep.
except for this, where he couldn't be bothered for the sequel.
No, this is not this is beneath him. And he directed some version of Freaky Friday that was a TV movie
Hmm. There's a lot
with
of
nobody I've ever heard
is
of.
there a wiki page for the Freaky Friday franchise? Freaky Friday franchise. That's fun to say.
Freaky Friday franchise.
Yeah.
Freaky Friday franchise.
They didn't sequel so much though, did they?
Let's make a podcast called the Freaky Friday franchise friends.
Mm.
And we just do all the films in the Freaky Friday franchise and other body swap
Yeah, as well. Say
movies.
you could do any, you could do all body swap movies. Um,
I'm looking at okay, I'm looking at
We could do
titles
Your
and
Name
there's
again.
yeah, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Wait, no, that's a video. Six. There are six films called Freaky Friday, and there are
yeah.
many episodes of things.
Oh, well, you do all the episodes as well, of course.
Well,
Because you're.
yeah, sure.
Can you body switch on a different day?
There's an episode of News Radio. That'd be fun.
Twisted Tuesday. You could have a body swap on Tuesday, be a Twisted Tuesday.
What the hell am I doing Wednesday?
Yeah, there we go.
I
Throw
really
me
want
into
it to
another
be
body
like
Thursday.
I was trying to find a day that alliterates with fucked, but it's only Friday.
Well, that's fucked Friday.
Fucked up Friday.
Shitty Sunday.
Shitty Sunday. There we go.
Taco
Cunt
Tuesday.
Christmas.
I always thought a good New Year's greeting was it would be to come up to someone, just peg them in the nuts and say, "Have a crappy New Year," you know,
Peg them?
Uh,
with your knee.
Hmm.
he doesn't mean like penetrate them with the strap on, but you know, you could do that.
That's how I
You
want to
still
do
have
every New
crappy
Year.
hair. Yeah, I mean, why
I
not?
was kneeing them in the crotch. Okay.
Whatever
We made
floats
Matt
your boat, man.
uncomfortable.
Anyway,
All right.
yeah, where were you? You were saying something that led to three tangents.
Me? Oh, I
Yeah.
was just talking about the stuff this guy directed, and then that led us to the Freaky Friday franchise.
Oh, right, there we go. And the guy who did not direct this movie.
The guy who did
Okay.
not direct this, he directed the first one,
Yeah.
which is allegedly better. But
But he's
I guess it
still,
has to be.
he still can be held responsible for this.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Maybe
first
if he
one,
directed it, it was good.
maybe the first one has like five jokes that were good. Although Haunted Mansion did not. It was almost like they were trying to play it serious, even though it was an Eddie Murphy comedy.
I only saw Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Oh, that one's not bad. No, if you want to go for 2003 era Haunted Mansion, you would need to put on Nelly's video "Is You," which is a better version of the Haunted Mansion than the Haunted Mansion movie.
Didn't
I
they
feel
do
like,
another one recently?
Yes, with Jared Leto.
Really?
oh no.
Christ.
I want like my idea,
I
like
bet he
without
plays it
knowing
very
anything.
serious.
I was gonna say without knowing anything about it, my thoughts are that you're going through a haunted mansion and Jared Leto's just like, I think we should check this corridor. Like he's just really like serious and will not
He's
leave you
the
alone.
Hatbox Ghost. I mean, I don't know what that means for anyone, but he's the Hatbox Ghost.
I'm the Hatbox Ghost.
He murdered like various cast members, family members, like to make sure they could really understand what it's like to be haunted by ghosts.
Rosario Dawson,
I
Owen Wilson,
I honestly
Danny
I have
DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jared Leto is actually like eighth build. Huh.
I have more than a few friends who are so obsessed with Haunted Mansion that they could tell you like the lore of the whole thing. They could just spend an hour telling you what everything means. I've been on it once and I had a great time.
Nice.
Mm.
But you know, and if I went back to Magic Kingdom tomorrow, I'd go on it again.
Yeah, you don't get the holiday version though.
I'm not obsessed. I don't do obsession really.
Mm. Sorry, I'm thinking of how many times I've been on the Haunted Mansion. Probably not as
Except
much as your obsessive friends. I think a good dozen times I've probably been on the Haunted Mansion.
I would add that there's a couple of video games that I'm obsessed with just to like go to parties and confuse the shit out of people. Like the one time I was at a party and was explaining the plot of Death Stranding to a bunch of people, half
Mm.
of which I didn't know.
Death Stranding adjacent, but I love any excuse to try and explain Metal Gear to someone
Yes.
because you can't not sound insane.
Yeah, and it's like not even really having played any of the Metal Gear Solid games, like I know enough that I can think about it and it just makes me like giggle a little bit because I
Yeah, I'm
know
just
enough.
thinking like, what's the next like ridiculous thing I can tell them with a straight face? It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well then his arm gets severed, but it gets replaced with another guy's arm, and then that guy possesses him. But don't worry, not really. He actually brainwashed himself with drugs.
Yeah, it's It's like that series is like the part where you have to plug your controller into the second controller slot to stop the guy from telling you what's in your memory card is one
Hmm.
of the less crazy things in it.
Yeah.
The last time I rode the Haunted Mansion, I put on headphones and listened to Nelly's Is You while riding it.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh.
So
Do you?
Matt is a theme park guy, you got to remember.
I just didn't know he was that much of a Nelly guy.
I'm not.
Do you have
Watch the video.
don't you have one in Japan or is it like not? Do you not have one?
Yeah, that's the one I've probably been on the
Oh,
most.
okay.
I've
It's
been on
like
the
different,
Is
Florida
that
right?
one like three
Disneyland?
times. It's at land. It's actually the Florida version. It's the same, so it's a little
Oh,
longer. It's same as the Florida version, but they do the
cool.
Nightmare Before Christmas overlay in the fall,
Is it
which
like
they
Shanghai that has a way different one?
no. It's exactly like Florida's.
Huh.
Hmm.
Then,
Like,
oh, I'm thinking of Tower of Terror where they have a way different one.
that one's different, yes. Um,
And you guys are getting the sick new whatever the hell it is, Space Mountain that looks completely different, which
correct. At the moment, though, they took the top off and it's sitting next to the mountain, so that's kind of depressing.
I must ride your new fancy Japanese mountain.
Right, Japanese mountain. We have lots of mountains in Japan.
Yeah,
Japan
I've been
basically
through
is
one.
just a big mountain
So okay,
open
so
out the sea.
just to put the bow on this movie, Luke, are you willing to go film with this one?
No, it's not film.
You said you
Let's not
liked
get
it.
silly here. Like, I don't know. Con- it's it probably should have been straight to video.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
Uh,
should be. Yeah, it should
Like,
have. If it had been straight to video, then the context
Nobody,
would be like
even fewer
no one
people
would
would have
have
watched
watched
it.
it. It wouldn't have get ended up here. And if I'd randomly somehow seen it, knowing it was straight to video, I'd be like, yeah, or straight to whatever TV or whatever. It's like, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
I mean,
I
that
just call this a fart.
yeah, that's one of the way late Eisner Disney shit the bed by putting they took like six films and whatever it was going to be straight to video. Let's put it into theaters. Probably because Toy Story 2 went so well, so they're like, Jungle Book 2, Peter Pan 2, yeah, put them in theaters. What the fuck?
I guess yeah. Prior to that, we didn't really get sequels in the theater from Disney, right?
Right, especially for the animated stuff. I mean, if we're talking, live action or Touchstone, sure. But yeah, they didn't do it. But then they just put like a whole bunch of like things that were like TV shows. It was like the movie version of the TV show. Let's put it in the theater. Why not? So they were kind of gunking up the theaters, which
Mm.
Well,
this
I
gunks
mean,
up the theaters. So I guess it gunked up like a few theaters. I don't know how wide the release of Daddy Day Camp was. I can't imagine it was that wide a release, and nothing is going to tell me on the internet because nobody cares enough about this movie.
I mean, it sounded like they were pretty confident about it. Did you see how they like were doing the preview
Oh,
screenings
I
under a
did find
fake
that
name?
2,000 screens. It opened on 2,000 screens. What do you know?
Hmm.
Profit of 18 million because it cost six to make. So if your multipliers
Wow,
times three, apparently you did okay.
good for them. I mean, get it while you can, man. Who cares? I'm not hating on this. I didn't pay to watch it.
There is only one 10-star review though, so I guess I'll read it. Just the one.
Do it.
Go
Best
ahead.
film of 2007. What is with all the negative reviews? Sometimes I think the reviewers here on IMDb are just messing around with our heads. Bottom 250, really IMDb. I'm fairly certain that in a few years, when people start seriously looking back on the greatest films of the 2000s, I call them the aughts. Daddy Day Camp will be at the top of most people's lists. The film stars Cuba Gooding Jr., who never really impressed me in his earlier roles in Boys in the Hood and Jerry Maguire. I forgot everything I previously knew about Gooding once I saw this movie. And Daddy Day Camp, he is in charge of running a day camp with Paul Ray, and then it's listed that he was in the movie Daddy Day Camp, where they find themselves in some knee-slapping crazy situations. This film gets some magic touches from director Fred Savage, the Wizard. I think Savage should have been put in charge of directing the original Daddy Daycare movie. He might have saved it from flopping so horribly. Give this one a shot, folks. It's a family-friendly movie and a hit with teenagers. Looks like all the other negative Nancys reviewing this film woke up on the wrong side of the tent. Six helpful reviews, 13 not helpful, February 5th, 2010. I don't even know if that's a sarcastic review or not. I can't.
I
It's
That's how
very
you know
saw
it's
subtle.
good
It is.
sarcasm, is you
Yeah,
genuinely can't tell.
I've. If you allow me this indulgence, there's one star review I'd like to read.
Oh,
Go on.
sure.
I don't like this. I guess the only reason you should watch this family movie with your family is if you hate both your family and yourself. 8 out of 8 people found that helpful.
Or you're doing a podcast on it. That's a reason to watch a
Did
movie
I? Did
now.
any of us watch it with our family?
I mean, technically,
My family was in the next room.
I could have made my mom watch this and she wouldn't have minded at all. She'd be like, no, fine.
Oh, I like how you started watching the nice movies, Mark.
She's like she always makes a point to tell me that she's watched like all of the Hallmark Christmas movies that she could possibly find.
You can do a
Sure.
podcast on those, all the Hallmark Christmas movies.
I
Oh,
mean,
that
yeah,
podcast definitely exists.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. We do. Would do just a podcast where instead of doing the alternate top and bottom rated movies, we alternate like Hallmark movies and then like what are those like extreme gerbil movies where it's like they're all just numbered and it's just like fucked up like
uh,
beyond torture porn shit. You know what I'm talking about?
nope.
Thankfully, no.
Um,
I would just think you'd do a Hallmark movie and then like an 80s slasher in the same episode. You'd have to talk about both in a single episode.
wasn't gerbil. That's some hamster.
I might be happy not knowing what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Probably. I've never really watched any of them, and I don't want to. So there you go.
And if Mark doesn't want to, that tells you all you need to know.
I'm not even. I'm not even that extreme. I don't even like watching Human Centipede 2. But,
Well, you had to watch it for a podcast. That's why you watched it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I did it, but I didn't enjoy it.
Ow. There's been several things that we didn't enjoy.
I mean, I'll tell you what I do enjoy: Battle Royale, one of the best movies ever made.
In the story of
If
Ricky.
you would like to see Battle Royale and Story of Ricky, then you should watch them. And then, but before you do that, you should go to podcastiopodcastius.org and check out other fine podcasts that are not about those two movies, but maybe they could be if you donate
You
to our
believe
Patreon
hard enough.
at
Anna.
patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. If you get us up to like $100 a month, we'll watch those movies.
I wonder if we put a like request a film tier, people would probably pay it. Like just one person.
Sure, I mean, if somebody wants to donate money one time, just be like, whatever, send us $50 to watch something that's not like egregiously shitty, then I don't know.
You could watch an egregiously shitty movie for 50 bucks, couldn't you?
And sure, okay. I
I
guess
mean, we're doing it for free at the moment, Mark.
yeah, that's a good point. Like, I don't know if it's like just like, hey, I'm gonna send you this movie that I made or something, and it's like a snuff film where it's just a guy taking a shit into somebody's mouth for 2 hours. Like, don't do that. But you should, instead of doing that, you should listen to other podcasts like Podcast 1999 and Luke Loves Pokemon, Game Show, Monster Mash, Occult Disney, and Time Enough podcasts about other things.
Right.
Yes, you should do all of the above.
Okay, I guess I gotta go home because this is only a day camp. We can't stay here overnight.
But if you donate $100 to the Patreon, you can get Films and Filth After Dark, which is where
Oh,
me
yeah.
and Mark just stay awake for 24 hours straight and record the nonsense we come out with at the end.
Oh, I thought you were talking about we were just gonna like rate porno movies.
I did have that was a podcast suggestion I made to Matt. Was where we watch porn films, but then just rate them like films. Just do not comment on the sexiness or the fact that we've had any link. It's just like, yeah, no, talk about like the acting and the plot and the cinematography.
There are exactly 2 times that I've sat and watched an entire porno movie from start to finish, and both of them were 3D. So it was like
Nice.
they were showing them in the movie theater, and man, they were awful. It was so boring. Like, the 3D cum shots were hilarious, but just, oh God, so boring. Worse
Yeah, I
than
mean,
Daddy Day Camp.
I wouldn't recommend watching pornos if you're not jorking it.
Okay, that's the final
Is that
word
going to
then.
be in the podcast? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But we gave you like five different potential final words there, so
Yeah.
take your pick.
I
One of
usually
them was
choose the
right
final
before.
one.
One of them was the night before I went to Japan the first time, and it was like I took my
Well, if he cuts
girlfriend
the
at the time.
podcast there, we won't even have a podcast.
No, yeah. You just listen to it and you decide where it should stop.
Right.
But
That's what I
like,
usually do. I'm gonna stop it where the silence is because I'm lazy and I can
yeah,
spot that on the file.
yeah, it's a good idea. But
Okay. I will hit the
yeah,
record
it's like,
button.
I think I'm just gonna. Do you guys? Should I just offer my one friend who does respond to the Police Academy movie next week? Is that
No one
worth
will ever know.